segment is still on the practical part of selective area where you have to select one question between MA, tax, or basically auditing. So this is what we'll be doing, and we'll be handling basically the practical part. You're going to do 2 questions in this segment. By the time we are through, I know you guys, you must be very good. So let's go to that question and see what a good examiner wanted us to do. Okay, as I mentioned earlier on, that it is very important that we start our classes as soon as possible. Also for those who are doing business data analytics. Remember, like, of course, the system has been changing every now and then. You also find that the trend has also been changing. So basically, this is a paper that was done just the other day for business data analytics. That is the theory part, which we are having basically December 2023. The paper that we just done the other day, right? So literally, this is what I was tested, and the beauty part of it is that now we have the solutions with a very clear explanation. For December 2023 exams, you can literally get this booklet from Embarrassment. Basically, these are what we have. We literally prepare the solution and also help you to understand why the choices that was selected were the best, as well as explaining the other choices. This was not our task today. Our task today was to handle the practical part of it, which in this case, I'm going to share it right now. This is the practical part of it. Remember, like, ideally, we had 5 questions, as usual. Basically, the first bit was allocated, these are financial reporting and accounting, allocated 30 marks. Question number 2 for financial management, allocated 30 marks. Question number 23, this was in relation to management accounting, allocated 20 marks, section 3. Remember, right now we're having like for BBA, we're having 3 sections. Basically, the first section, which is a theory, the second section, which is a compulsory question, that is a question 1 and 2, whereas part of section 3, ideally, which is the selective paper, selective questions, where you'll be required to select either between management accounting, auditing, or basically taxation. So this is a paper that was done sitting, that is December 2023, the paper that was just done the other day. So our task today, basically, I want us to handle the following. Number 1, I want us to start with question number 2022. This is for financial management. Remember, these are what Molino has always been guiding us through. By now, I know for students who studied in the past, basically they found these questions to be very simple because these are some of the things that we'll be doing in class. So, like in our question here, question number 52, you are what you're told. The Safari Limited is evaluating a project in the following details. Initial investment, I'm given 100 million. Residual value, I'm given 10 million. Year 1 project cash flows, I'm given 25. Annual cash flow growth rate for the year, I'm given 10%. The project life, I'm given 5 years. So the question here I want to ask, number 1, compute the following project metrics. That is the payback period. There are bits to the examiner want to compute basically the net present value, NPV, assume a discount rate of 12%. But here the question the examiner wanted us to compute the profitability index, that is PI, assume a discount rate of 12%. So using a graph, determine the project's internal rate of return. Remember, every examiner is giving us 33 marks. These are literally marks that you can put them very easily. And at this point, it is important that you have a basic of financial management, which with the rule normally change in your account. Right? So, assuming you have this question, where were you supposed to start from? Basically, this will be easy for us. Why is Molino saying it is easy? It is important for us to understand that ideally here we are dealing with the concept of what? Concept of budgeting decision. Whereby in this case, of course, I'm having the talk about the methods that are given here. We should talk about in class the aspect of discounted, and talk about basically discounted methods or techniques. Term them as basically, of course, modern, and we have basically discounted techniques. Among the discounted techniques, we will be talking of payback period, and this is what the examiner was testing us here. Remember, we had looked at this concept in class. We had looked at this concept in class, if you can review the videos that we're doing. So, like in our case here, I will examine how to work out the payback period. So, first thing that I should be able to analyze is that at any given point in time, whenever we hear payback period, my good students, what should come at the back of our mind? That's the first question I need to ask myself. Do I know what a payback period is? At this point, it is important to remember very clearly and straight that payback period basically, we normally tend to look at it as the time it takes for the initial investment to be recovered. So, like as any other investor, you always be very keen with the time that it will take you to recoup your initial investment. That is what you normally refer to as payback period. And at this point, you normally consider two aspects here. You normally consider the two aspects of regular cash flows. Regular cash flow, that is in the sense whereby we are looking at the cash flows in that about equal cash flows for the period. If it is 10 million for 5 years, 10 million each year for 5 years. What about regular cash flows? The regular cash flows in this case will apply where we are talking of you're having basically the cash flows which are unequal. Year one, maybe you're having talk of maybe year one, you are talking of maybe aspect to do with 1 million, year two, you're talking of 3 million, year three, you're talking of 7 million, maybe that you're talking about irregular, right? Unequal. So having that in mind, it is important now to basically use or rather to analyze the next step, which is basically the formula. At any given point, you never read about regular cash flows. This one is always really simple. I don't know saying it is very simple. Or basically regular cash flows. For us to determine our cash flows, basically you'll find that we normally tend to talk of basically consider your initial investment. So these are what we're really about. Consider your initial investment. Okay. In this case, consider your annual cash flows. Annual cash flows. This is very important. Consider your initial investment divided by our annual cash flows. That's the number one thing that we need to understand anything about the payback period where you are having not regular cash flows. What about irregular cash flows? So regular cash flows, basically, at this point, we are looking at a concept whereby our cash flows are unequal. Therefore, at this point, we'll have to put in consideration a very important assumption on payback period is that we normally tend to assume that these cash flows are always accrued, or rather, we usually tend to earn them evenly. That is, on a monthly, in a very layman's perspective. Say, for example, like if I'm having 12 million in a month, we normally tend to assume that each year will generate about 1 million. So this cash flow is earned evenly. That is one important assumption that you must always tend to have. So therefore, for regular cash flows, it will always be upon us to determine the cumulative figure up to the time that we are getting basically this initial investment in a very simple manner. So if I told you to look at this portion of ours and you are supposed to work out the payback period, I'm going to have our years very comfortably here. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to examine here has given us what? Years. So I'm having basically my period here. Looking at our period, basically I'm having year one. We can start with year zero, literally. We can drag all these to year what? Year 5. Year 0 to year 5. year 0 to year 5. This is what we should be having. Once I have this in mind, consider our cash flows. Consider our cash flows here. If I told you to look at our cash flows, let's see what the examiner has given us. Initial investment, that is year 0, is what I'm going to take with an outlay. So I'm having what? An outlay. 100 million. Our initial investment is 100 million. What about basically year 1? Annual cash flow growth rate for year 2 onwards was 10%. But year 1 project cash flow growth was 25 million. So basically, I'm going to have year 1. I'm going to have 25 million at this point. I'm going to have my 25 million. So year 2, you show what? I'm having an annual growth rate. So our growth rate here basically will be, if I told you talk of our GR, annual, or rather maybe let me have the annual growth rate, AGR. AGR, a good examiner here has given us our OGR to what? Be 10%. So that's what we're going to take. Year 2 onwards, you'll find that we'll be having the growth rate of 10% all through. Right? 10% all through, 10% all through. So literally here, I'm going to have it here. Let me have 10%. So basically, I'll be having my 10% all through, which is ideally 0. So I'm having my 10% all through. These are what we should be having. So once I have this in mind, the next step will be what? So therefore, year 2, I'm going to have my 5 million times 10%. But having that is, of course, I can drag all these data. Basically, this is sorry, it is 10%, so it is plus 1. So literally, we'll be having like that value times 10%. You are adding 10% on that. So I'll be having 1 plus what? The 10% value there. So this is what we should be having. So year 2 onwards, 27, drag it the exact part, or you can drag it up to the last bit, 36, 605. So this was our growth rate. Given our case, this is what I'll be having. This is what we'll be earning all through. This is what we'll be earning all through. All these are 16, so let me have them in 16 format. So these are what we are being told in relation to what our annual cash flow growth rate. Once I have this, I need to ask myself this question, this very good question. I need to ask myself. Remember, at this point, we are told that our residual value, this is what you are going to earn at the end of the period. Residual value is always at the end of the period. At the end of the period, I'll be having 10 million, right? So year 5, there's this other value that you're talking about, which you're going to earn, which is what? 10 million. These are cash flow that you're going to earn at the end of the period. So we can agree and say that in addition to what we are having here in year 5, the growth, I'm going to add the 10 million because that amount I'll be receiving it in year 5. So these are what I should be having. These are what I should be having. So that is why I'm adding it in year 5 to give us the total cash flows in year 5. Believing that we are on the same page as well. So once I have that in mind, what I will examine, I wanted that do number 1 is compute our payback period. So our payback period, because I've realized that our cash flows are literally irregular. So therefore, I'm going to use this concept. I'm going to take my cumulative figure, whereby in year 1, this is what we can do. Payback, we want to look at the time that it took us for us to recoup, or rather the time that it took us for us to recoup our initial investment. So year 1, I'm earning a cash flow of 5 million. Year 2, I'm earning, I'll be having a total sum of what? 52 82.5. Have we reached our initial investment of 100 million? We have not reached that investment yet. So come to year 3 and be having that plus that. This is a 30. Have we reached that investment of 100 million? We've not yet reached that investment. But I'm going to realize that if I add for year 4, is going to surpass our initial investment. So I'm going to say that my payback period here will be, first of all, I'm having the first 3 years, the first 3 years, the first 3 years, see this, the first 3 years, I am earning up to 82,750. I'm earning up to 82,750. So we go with that assumption where we mentioned that for an payback period, a very important assumption is always applied. We normally tend to assume that these cash flows are earned evenly. So here's a question we are going to ask ourselves. Up to year 3, we've not yet recouped our investment. But we realize that in year 4, that is the period that you're going to recoup our investment. Our investment was 100 million. So how much have we remained with for us to recoup our investment? Whatever that have remained for us to recoup our investment, basically what? I'm going to do this case. This was our initial investment, which was 100 million. So I'm going to take 100 million next to give us 17 to 50. So this is what I remain to recoup our initial investment of 100 million. And this 17 to 50, I'm going to earn it in the period of year 4. So simply, we are going to go that assumption where we are going to say that the 33 to 75, in this case, it will take us 12 months for us to earn them. It will take us 12 months for us to earn what? 33 to 75. So how long will it take us for us to earn 17 to 50? How long will it take us for us to earn 17 to 50? So that will be simple because what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, I'll be having that, multiply with that. Of course, in this case, divide by this. So it will take us approximately 6 months. If this was 12 months, I'm going to earn the 17 to 50 goal, 6 months. Right? Approximately 6 months. So for us to get our payback period, remember, already 3 years are the and this 17 to 50, I'm going to earn this within 6 months of 4, within 6 months of year 4. So literally, we can agree and say that therefore, my payback period here will be 3 years. Right? To be very accurate, I'll be having 3 years, 6 months. 3 years, 6 months. So literally, this is like we're talking about 3.5 years. You're about 3.5 years. You're about 3.5 years. So that is what I'm going to examine out that coming on our path is. So the question is, were you able to give us? Right? Very simple, as simple as that payment period. So you're done with the first segment. We proceed with number 2, which is also very interesting. Number 2, the good examiner is asking us here. The net present value assume that a discount rate of 12% applies. So here, the good examiner is asking us this question. The net present value, you'll find that this will also be very simple. These are markets will have earned them very easily. So the net present value, how will we earn or determine the net present value? Already in this case, I'm having my data here. So this is the data that I'm going to take simply. This is the data that I'm going to have it at this point. Given our change, this is what you're going to earn. So literally, I'm going to have this in the same format. That is okay. So these are what you're going to have here. I'm going to examine our answers to determine our NPV. You don't need to start goal 5 because you know very well discount rate here or discount rate here. I'm going to examine has given us a discount rate. I'm going to examine has given us a discount rate here to be 5%. So that's what I'm going to have there. The question is, did you attend Mwalimu Aringo class? For you to understand the simple way of computing NPV, this will be very simple. So for me to determine my NPV, you know very well that for us to determine our NPV, we normally tend to talk of what? We normally tend to talk of the present value of our cash flows, the present value of our cash inflows. We left our initial outlay. These are what we said. These are what we said. By now, you should be very familiar with that. So the question is, how do you work this one out very easily? This will be very simple. I know very well that my present value of our cash flows, this should be very simple as this. My present value for cash flows, I'm just going to have equals. We use the concept of basically what? Asset over NPV, right? We can basically, we can take the present value of our cash flows. So in this case, I'm having PV, where in this case, my rate is 12%. Our rate is 12%, right? 12%, or literally, we can just have it here, our NPV tab. In this case, I'm having our rate which is 12%, comma, we have our values here. Value, consider our cash flows. Consider our cash flows. I can literally have it at that point. I can literally have it at that point. Then from there on, I can take what? I'm going to take, basically, we are going to take our, I'm having this. I'm going to have that, right? Then we take our initial outlay. Initial outlay. So at once I have the initial outlay, which I know very well is that value. So therefore, my NPV here, very confidently, I'm going to say that my NPV, therefore my NPV will be equal to my present value for cash flows, we less our initial outlay, give us the value that I'm getting there, which is what? 13,365. Right? 13,365. Alternatively, you can decide to use this direct formula where you can say your NPV is equal to, you can decide to use this. You can say your NPV formula tab, you take your rate, which is 12%, comma, all your values like that, okay, comma, then you less your initial outlay. You still arrive at the same value here. So you can agree and say that our NPV, this is what our good examiner wanted us to determine. So that's the second bit that we are supposed to work out, our NPV, which we already computed in the discount rate of 4%. The second or the third bit here, I'll do examiner that compute of our profitability index. Profitability index. This is the third bit that our good examiner wanted us to compute. Profitability index. So how will you work out your profitability index, my good students? It is important to note that at any given point, whenever we are asked for profitability index ideally, we just want to look at the ratio of present value of cash inflows to our initial investment. This is what we are looking at. The ratio of the present value of cash inflows to the initial investment. You're seeing the ratio of the present value, of cash inflows to the initial investment, This is what will give us our PI. So this is very simple. This is very simple. Molino is trying to tell us here that for us to determine the PI, what we are supposed to do is to take my PI here equal to what? My PI here, of course, is equal to the following. I'm going to take our present value of cash inflows. We are going to divide all this by our initial outlay. Initial outlay. This will give us the value. This will give us what? This will give us what I am supposed to determine. This is what we should be having. Okay? So once I have this in mind, this will make our work even easier. So we have already determined our present value of cash in cash here, which we ready to be what? Okay. 365, the value I'm having there. We have our initial outlay, which our initial outlay is 100 million. So can we determine our PI? Our PI will be very simple because I'm only be taking that divide by that to give us our PI into 4 decimal place if we can. This will be our PI. This will be our PI. And this is what examiner wanted us to compute. This is what our examiner wanted us to compute. You see how easy this was, right? And if you have anything that basically this was almost 3 months, you should understand that it was easy. Then Molino has been guiding us all through in relation to this. I know for those who attended our classes, we should be very happy wherever they are now. And for those who are going to join our classes, they'll also be happy. I think be working it now. So literally, after that point, I believe that we are on the same page and you're very good with that. We proceed to the next item here, where we were at. Using a graph, determine the project's internal rate of return. As simple as that. So these are what you are. A good example, I want us to use our graph here is the question. Using a graph, determine the project's internal rate of return. That's what a good example I wanted us to do. But this is, again, this is very simple. Why? Because I know very well that IRR implies that this is a rate that equates our LTV to be 0. These are discount rates that equate. These are basically our discount rate that will equate our LTV, that will equate the LTV to zero. So meaning that at any given point, remember I'm having this rate, these are rate that will equate our LTV to be equal to 0. So the question is, how will we determine this rate? Remember, if at all you weren't out of the graph, this would have been very easy. If at all you are attending the class to BDA, but now you should be able to figure out this one out. At any given point, you should be able to know that for us to determine our IRR, I only need to have what? I only need to have this formula. This function IRR, my values, which values are we dealing with? Of course, these are the values that you're dealing with. So actually, it should be simple if Molino doing this. Let me take the data here, the exact data that I will have. I'm going to have my data. I'm going to have my data here. I'm going to have my data here. Make our work easier, right? So IRR, basically, without using our chart to so on, you can agree and say that basically I'm having this function which is equal sign IRR. The values, including your initial outlay, you are right. This is what I have been teaching you guys for this. This is what you're going to do. You take all your cash flow, including your initial outlay. Then you do command. Because we are trial and error method, and that's why even the exam will tell you, take a value that you're going to guess. Always advisable that in the event that you have your NPV to be a positive, the earlier NPV is it is positive. So the value that you should select should be higher than the value that was used, the discount rate that was used earlier on. Like for example here, the discount rate that was used in this cash flow earlier almost 12%. So for me to determine our accurate IRR, it is ideal for us to take higher value, which is more than what? It's more than, it's more basically than 12%. I can literally take any value, say I take 13%. So my IRR here, I can literally see it what? It is 17%. Remember the procedure, basically, I've guided you in class, but this is not all the examiner industry. At this point, I've clearly established that our IRR is somewhere 16%, or 16.75%, which is more the same as 17%. But the examiner wanted us to use our graph. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to select the rates because I need to have a photo or infographic. So I'll be having basically here my rates. So the rates, literally, we can agree and say that we take the rates in between what? Because I've seen it is 16%. Basically, I should be having an initial rate of 4%. So we can agree and say that we take what? So basically, aspect of 10%. We can decide to take 10%. In this case, I take 11%. So after that, again, we basically have my flow. I'm going to drag it up to around 20%. We have our rates at that point. We have our rates up to that point, 20%. Yeah, I'm just coming up with the scale. What about our NPV? Because remember, we say that these are discount rate that will put our NPV to be equal, to be equal to 0. So we need to determine our NPV. We need to determine our NPV in all these cases. We need to determine our NPV in all the rates that we have established here. And this will be very simple. And what I'm going to say that this will be very simple. What we are going to do here is determine our NPV at the discount rate of 4%. So I'm going to have our NPV function. My rate is the part rate. Comma. Our values, basically, these are the values that we are looking at. I'm going to lock these values. Therefore, we lock our values, okay? At this point, remember, we need to determine basically what? We need to let our initial outlay. So our initial outlay was basically what? 100 million. So once I have that, I just have my total. So this will be our NPV. And because our initial outlay will be open, the same also, I'm also going to lock that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just for fulfill. You see, it will give me our NPV, it will give us our NPV also. It will give us our NPV also. So literally, this will be our NPVs. This will literally be our NPVs. This will literally be our NPVs. For each and every rate I'm having. So once I have been able to establish this, coming up with a chart, it will be very simple. So how are we going to come up with it? Remember, the little mention of in such events, you should always go with the recommended. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight my data here. I'm going to go to insert. We go to recommended chart. For recommended chart, always advisable, like in this case, go the line. So I'm going to select my line chart. Right? I'm going to have it a lot for. So literally, this will be my line chart here. This will be a line chart. I can decide to basically format it and have whichever value that you're talking about, or I can just leave it at that point. This is much better. Black theme, right? So basically having this case, I can decide that, you know what, my good examiner, I want to show you that I attended one of the Ringo's class. So these are what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. I'm going to have our add elements. Let me insert our primary horizontal, first of all, axis. This is what aspect of the rates. So equal sign, these are literally our rates. What about our vertical? In this case, this is what our LTV. So we need to determine these aspects of our chart, right? Internal rates, IRR. These are, of course, our chart. Because you're asked, these are graphs showing what? IRR. So project IRR. So literally, I can basically have it at this point. These are graph showing our IRR. Literally, our IRR graph, literally. So we want to look at a point whereby our NPV is equal to 0. Remember, this is a 0.0 here, right? This is a 0.0 here. So at point where our IRR is equal to 0, literally, if you take this to be general assuming, see? So that you have it here to be 0. See? So the point where my NPV is equal to 0 is somewhere in between here, right? Somewhere in between here. 16.8%, 16.8%, somewhere because it is close to 17, and the red one, so literally based on the chart I'm having. So my IRR based on this is literally our IRR. This is a point whereby I'm going to have 0. So it's somewhere between 16. So our IRR is literally like 16.8%, somewhere there, right? Based on what you're having here, based on our chart. You see, and that's what you're supposed to do. These are supposed to prepare your IRR. As simple as this. As simple as this. So this was question number 22. You earn all your 30 marks. As simple as that. You earn all your 30 marks. As simple as that. I'm going to have this Excel so that you guys should also use it in your practice. So that's the first thing that I'm supposed to do. We literally done with question number 22. Question number 22. So in this case, we proceed to question number 23. Question number 23 again was also a very simple question. Then I'm going to do question number 21 and the other questions, of course, as well. But question number 23, my good students, was also a very simple question. Because this is what actually we did in our division in terms of regression analysis. So how are we supposed to work this one out? This is very simple. You don't want to work it out. Or should we leave it to us? Let's see. So this is the data I'm given. You say that Russian limited manufacturer the child fresh foods. The company has provided the following data for the year 2022. I'm given a giant debt quantity produced and production cost. Required, the good examiner that compute number 1, regression statistics, analysis of variance and over, intercept and flow coefficients with their details including lower and upper bounds with 5% confidence level. Prepare a schedule showing the quantities, actual cost, and predicted cost given the above quantities. Include the upper and the lower and upper boundaries at 95% confidence. Then you're supposed to prepare a chart for the information in package. You have your 30 marks here. Already you have your 30 marks here. Looking at your other 20 marks, which you can handle very easily at this point, these are what you're supposed to do. How do you go about it, my good students? First of all, I'm going to take my data here. And to show you guys how this is very simple. I'm going to take my data here. We have it at this point, okay? we have it, I can literally have it in terms of my value. Yeah, so this is what you should be having. You know very well that our value there are in thousands. So this is my solution. We are looking at a solution. We are looking at a solution here. And all of this, basically, I'm taking it to be times New Roman. For it to be very visible, we're using what? 16, 5. So these are what you should be having. Usually, this data, these are the period. January to December, so I'm having 1, 2. So literally, I'm just going to have it as a point, right? So we're having our data here. We're having our data here. Very good data. So what a good examiner does do, the first thing that a good examiner does do is prepare the regression statistics. It's very simple. Make sure that always in exams, if you go to your data, and this is something that I've always been saying also, for the data here, make sure that you're having out your data analysis. Make sure that you're having out your data analysis. So once I have it at that point, this will be very simple for us to work out. How will we go about it? I'm going to have our regression. So therefore, I'm going to go to my data analysis. We select our regression at that point, right? So basically, these are the details. You should be having it 0 like that. So what I'm supposed to do here, number 1, is to input our Y range. So in our data here, it is upon us basically to determine of what we are having, what will be our Y, and what will be our X. Many a times, of course, Y is always independent variable. Our Y will always depend on the quantities that we are producing. So therefore, that will make our quantity to be what? To be X. So therefore, my Y, basically, I should be having what? Our production cost. So this is our Y range. What about our X range? Our X range, basically, at this point, you're going to agree that these are what we quantity produced. So this is the quantity produced. Where do I want my confidence interval here? Remember, you can always adjust the confidence interval at this point. The confidence interval that a good examiner is giving us, they have given us what? 5% confidence interval. So that's why at this point, you should always have what? You should have 5% given what you are asked. On this line of box, you can see I'm having my output range. So our output range is where I want my data to display. In our case, I want my data to display on this cell there. So I'm going to select that cell at that point. The next thing, of course, I want residual values, basically the predicted value. If I want to have my residual plot, I can have it at that point. If I want to place this in our line chart, I can have it in this case, showing the actual versus predicted. That's what you're having here as well, 9 feet plots. So once I'm done with that case, the next thing is just, see this man. I just click equal sign. I'm having all the details that I will examine. Literally, if I'm done with this portion of, if I'm done with this portion of, we're literally done with this portion. We're literally done with this portion. Because number 1 bit, assume the examiner wants us to determine our regression statistics. So basically, our regression statistics here, I can literally have our regression statistics. See, how easy is that? I know you're wondering, how was this, how easy was this work? So on the regression statistics, I've literally handled part A, part 1 here, our regression statistics. This is what I'm going to examine out in that to do. So this is part A of the question. Regression statistics. Right? Part 2 of the question, I'm going to examine out in that to handle analysis of variables. Remember, I'm explaining all these concepts in terms of ANOVA and explain all these concepts. You see how easy that was? So that this is basically a regression statistics. I can have it here on screen. You're done with that. Analysis of variance, which is basically ANOVA. You have it here. Degree of freedom, basically the F, literally degree of freedom, sum of squares, F statistics, basically what you have it. Analysis of variance, where the interest. In this case, pursue the question. I'm going to examine out that what intercept and slope coefficients with their digits, including lower and upper boundaries. You see, already I'm having this one here. Already I'm having this one here. See, this is how simple see how simple this question was. So already I'm having my data there. See? So with that only, we've literally handled part A, 1, 2, 3. Imagine just like that. 1, 2, 3 at once. We have our answers. 1, 2, 3. I'm having my data there. See how simple that is, right? The next bit here, look at this case, look at this case, look at this case, look at this case. Prepare a schedule showing the quantities, actual cost, and predicted cost given the amount quantities. Also, you're supposed to include the lower and upper boundaries at 95% confidence interval. See how this question is simple. Already, first of all, in this case, if I told you I was to show this that, how will I go about it? Actually, what I'm supposed to do, same explanation here. I can literally decide to squeeze or basically, so already I'm done with this bit. This is the first, these are what you're supposed to do. I can basically squeeze this one here. Let me take the whole of this data. I want you to have it at this point. Yeah. So this is what I've literally basically just freeze it at this point, right? So in this case, you're supposed to handle, prepare a schedule showing quantity, actual cost, and predicted cost, given the amount quantity. So at this point, it is very easy. My predicted cost, of course, it is the predicted one. So I'm just going to copy paste this one here. Predicted. So this is our predicted cost. These are our predicted. These are literally our predicted cost. Okay? Predicted cost. As simple as that. I'm having it at that point. I can literally have this in my value at that point. Okay? The next thing that our good examiner wants that to do is to determine our range. Our include the lower and upper boundary. So first of all, with this equation, with our equation here, our predicted cost, this will have been our equation. You see, the intercept, this is a value. The slope, which is x variable, this is what? Our b value. So this equation, we can literally say that my y, remember the regression equation, is equal to a, which is 7955.27, 7955.27, plus b, which my b is 0.0951. 0.095, that's 0.0, let us check it out well. 0.0952. So this is my equation. Remember, this is what? X. So that is how we determine that value. These are using the equation to determine the value. So what about the other bit? The other bit I will examine our determine for lower boundaries and upper boundaries. You see, I'm going to look at our intercept and slope coefficients with the details including lower and upper boundary. So I'm having lower boundary, like 5%. I'm going to have our cost. Cost. These are literally our cost at lower boundary, like 5%. Which at that point, my equation is what? I'm going to take my values for x and the values for one value for b and value for x. A value for a and value for b. So literally in this case, I can have, like now I'm having literally what? Y, our equation at lower cost rather lower boundary, I'm having y is equal to A, which is 1832.88. Literally, this is what you're taking here. You see this? This is what you're taking. We have 0.0810x because that is our b value, right? So in this case, we can agree and say that this is what? Our equation there. At lower, let us have it start with here, lower boundary. With lower boundary, lower boundary, lower boundary, lower boundary. The next bit is what about cost for upper boundary? So cost at upper boundary. See how easy this was, upper boundary. So for upper boundary, this will be very simple again. All we need to do is this. I'll come and check my upper boundary. So my equation will be y is equal to our upper boundary, which is 14,077.67. We add 0.1093x. This is what I should be having here. That's what I should be having. So this is what we should be having as our equation. So can we now determine our cost at lower and upper boundary? Yes, that will be very easy because all I need to do is to work out my equation 1832.88. I'm going to add 0.0810 our equation. We have our remember basically these are our units. My unit is what you are given here. These are the units that I was given there. So literally, I'm going to close it and autofill. Sure, I'm having my data given there. What about upper boundary? In any case, I'm going to take our equation 14,077.67 plus 0.1093. You have our x. Yes, you have our x values at that point. So I'm going to have our x values at that point. Then, as at the end of the day, what to do is what to do? Enter. Just do enter. Then, in this case, remember, at least be in 2 decimal places. Then I also fill what? I'm having all the data there. So, what we've literally done here, and to students, is I'm having this data in terms of our schedule showing the quantity. These are literally the quantities. Actual cost, these are literally our actual cost. Predicted cost, these are literally our predicted cost. Including the lower and upper boundaries, lower boundaries, upper boundaries are 5% confidence level. See how easy that was. So up to that point, you've literally earned almost, these are literally 15 months. So the party that you have for 5 months. Prepare a chart for the information in part B. This is easy. We need now to prepare our chart. So how will you prepare our chart? I'll just come just beside this point. You can literally come with a chart just beside this. I need the chart. So what should the chart present? The chart should present, number one, quantities. So basically I'm going to have our quantities. I'm going to have my lower cost post at lower boundary and post at upper boundary. In this case, I need to prepare that. So I just come in the chart. I go to recommended charts. I prefer to select which chart. Line chart or bar. Line chart will be the best here. So I need my line chart. Which one will fit me best? Which one will fit us best? I can decide to go with that one will work. See? These are charts. These are charts. These are charts. See how easy this was. See how easy this was. Yeah? So literally these are charts. Of course, you can rename it. And at this point, you're having your how many marks? Do that already we've done 50, you already have your 50%. Even without looking at the theories, already you have your 50%. Whereby we only handle question number 52 and question number 53. Already you have your 50%. Already you have your 50%. See how easy that was, right? Of course, in our next class, we're going to handle question number 21, which is financial accounting. Again, this was very simple. And also going to handle question number 25, actual allowance. By that, of course, it should be very good. Remember, as I mentioned earlier on, already we have worked out the solution for and explained in the explanation given to the theory B. This is what you have. So these are what we started with. Yeah, you have everything now. So at this point, guys, these are what you're supposed to do in this this question. So at this point, basically, Molino advice would be this. So you've literally seen how the question basically for December 2023, we have only done 2 questions. At this point, you must, we will agree with Molino that if you have a very clear guide, passing BDA, it is always very easy. At this point, so long as you're having a very clear guide, so long as you're being taken step by step, you must have realized that it is not only the knowledge of Excel. Those are the questions that we just done right now, the 2 questions, of course, for financial management, and we've also done basically, of course, a question for management accounting. You must have realized that it is not only Excel knowledge that you require in business data analytics, but rather it is also important for you to have the previous knowledge. So at this point, I want to take this chance, guys, to invite you to our classes which are on. And whenever I'm talking about them, you might be like, Malima, tell me, are you also studying? Yeah, are you also teaching in December holidays? These are things that I'm going to give you guys. We're having a very good package which will enable you to start studying as soon as you can. Because you must have realized, as I mentioned the other time, is that nowadays semester is always very short. So we're having this package for you, the pre-recorded version, where you're going to get, you're going to access all these video classes basically on these topics for business data analytics. In addition to that, of course, you're going to get all these workbooks which will enable you to help you for practice. So for those who wish to join live virtual when you start the semester, at least you will be in a very good position. Because whatever that has been recorded, it is exactly the same thing that you normally tend to teach in class, other than us maybe adding more questions like the one that were done on the previous sitting. So at this point, I wish to take this chance and invite you guys for classes. It is not only for business data analytics, but remember, it is open to any course that you're doing for CPA. So at this point, thank you so much, guys. See you in our next sessions, whereby we'll be handling more of business data analytics.